Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2025 to the News Record and the Star Ledger in December of 2024, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Mr. Daffis.
Present.
Mr. DeLuca.
Here.
Ms. Engel.
Here.
Ms. Herman. Mayor Adams.
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting. And whereas desire the governing body to comply with the provisions of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee, Township of Maplewood does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in deliberations of the governing body by the public, except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the governing body at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you. I'd ask everyone to stand for a salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, April Fool's Day meeting of the Township Committee of Maplewood. Thank you all for coming tonight. I'm sure you're just here for our meeting, but maybe not. But I'm just going to go over the agenda. Ms. Fritzen, I'm going to make a change to before board and committee appointments. I'm going to move the presentations and proclamations ahead of that, if that's all right. Okay, so we'll start by honoring youth basketball champions. Anybody here? That's why y'all are here. All right. I thought maybe it was a civics lesson, but apparently not. So we'll do that, and then we'll have a recognition of the Maplewood Middle School students' substance use prevention videos from ADAPT.
Yeah.
Right, and then we have special presentations and proclamations. We have Youth Advisory Committee presentation. A lot of youth tonight. That's awesome. Then we have 4 proclamations for Arab American Heritage Month, Arbor Day Month, or Arbor Day, National Library Week, and Autism Acceptance Month. Then we will move to board and committee appointments. We have appointments to the Senior Advisory Committee, the Recreation Advisory Committee, and the Pool Advisory Committee. After that, we will have a presentation by Superintendent Jason Bing on the Board of Ed budget. That'll be about a 10-minute presentation so that we're all aware of our school district's plans for the financial impact on our taxes. Then we will have public comment for agenda items only. Then we will move into our Board of Health meeting with Ms. Davenport. Then we have introduction of 3 ordinances. We'll have reports from the administration, Mr. Weary. We'll have Ms. Credidio, our township attorney report, and Ms. Fritzen will give our clerk's report. Reports from elected officials will be Deputy Mayor Herman will be first up, then Committee Member DeLuca, Committee Member Daffis, and Committee Member Engel, and then I go last. We have, thankfully, with this big agenda, no discussion items for tonight. And then we have a consent agenda and another public comment on any subject matter. And then we will adjourn. But I just want to let you know that after the part you're all here for is over, we'll take a little break so y'all can go home or you can stay. It's up to you. But we know that's kind of a little noisy thing that happens. So we'll let y'all go and we'll take a little break. So With that, Ms. Mancuso, you want to join me at the podium? We'll do some championships.
Patrick.
I'm going to let you. Is this working? Is this mic on? Okay. So why don't you first introduce what we're doing? We had some amazing basketball players.
Yes, we are here to celebrate 3 championship teams through our MAPSO basketball program. Everybody had a great season. So we did have 12 teams, and we're proud of all of them. Everybody played hard. We had a lot of good sportshumanship, and I've thanked the grown-ups in the crowd several times for all of your hard work getting everybody to practices, and I'm extremely proud of all of the coaches. I just want to mention our basketball director, just so you don't mistake me for him, Mike Holloway. Yes, he's much taller than me. Along with Eddie Starzinski and Lenny Grace, who really created the legacy in the town through many, many decades, and we're very, proud to keep it going and keep it growing here in Maplewood. So proud of everybody, but we're going to call all the winners out by name. Yes, Coach Mike is on vacation. Yeah, he'll be back tomorrow, though, so you can find him then. All right, so our first winners in the Suburban League were, well, I think we should get the coaches. Big round of applause for Dominic Starzinski. Coach Dom. Okay, so the MAPSO 5th grade boys team. Let's start with Gus. Good, be about. We're gonna clap at the end.
What?
Your hands.
Ace.
At the end, I think they want.
Yeah, we'll applaud at the end. Ace DeFritas. Owen Elwood. Grayson Gauss. Finnegan Kensler. Liam Matson. Adam Saeed. Dean Sheldon. Abiha Spielman. And Cooper Storms.
Grayson and Finn aren't here, so and Adam. So that's our full 10. This is back to back for us. 4th grade, 5th grade champions. Hopefully repeat next year, which will be the second team, I believe. So keep working and congratulations to all the teams here.
Okay. The MAPSO seventh grade Red Boys team, Suburban League champions, their final season record was 13-0. So, all right, if you could come on up, Coach OJ. And I would like to add that we do thank Eddie and Lenny and thank everybody a lot, but I believe that we have to add OJ to the list because I think next season is like 21. 20. He's entering his 21st season with us. So all right.
But you're not older. You're not older.
Okay, you ready to come on up? We'll clap and get some photos. Cy Beckerman.
Isaiah Boyd, Ethan Etienne, Earl Farrell Jr., Evan Fitzhugh, Clay Irving, Ishan Jordan, Nate Livesay, Juan Muhammad, Cam Smith, and James Waller.
All I want to say is congrats, fellas, for a great season. And again, next year, let's do it again. All right?
Okay. We also have our MAPSO sixth grade Gold Boys team, and their final season record was 16-2. They had a great championship game. And I'd like to welcome their coaches, Rich Quadrini and Brian Catanese.
All right, you players ready to come up and smile? John Catanese, sorry if I screw up your name. Nathan Chan, JJ Gagno, Coleman Johnson, Grant Johnson, James Mead, Sean Midland, Declan Monagle, sorry, and Rami Farhan.
Things. One thing is there was only going to be 11 teams in Maplewood this year. We were the 12th team. We were the add-on team. So we weren't even supposed to be here.
No, we're doing the next
No.
middle school.
We have another presentation.
We have the other presentation.
Yeah, we have. Hold up and down here. So congrats again, everybody. I want to call up and do a recognition for the Maplewood Middle School students, substance use and prevention videos from ADAPT. Ms. Davenport, will you join us, please?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm really proud to introduce the Maplewood Middle School students who created some amazing substance use prevention videos related to Great American Smokeout, as well as three competitions, three groups who won for their substance use videos. And I'm going to let ADAPT announce the winners and give them their certificates of award. And please hold your applause until the end. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. All right. Okay. Congratulations to our first place winner, Tande Gondo. Andai, sorry. All right. Marley Engel. Luke M. Oh, he's not here. Okay. Luke McWannell. All right, second place winners, Jane Brady, Clara Hoffman, Ada Clark, third place winners, Theo Reed, Parker Runge, I'm sorry for the mispronunciations, Jack Bailey Adamson,
I'd like to invite committee member Engel to come up. Do you want to say anything? Since you have intimate involvement.
Only have intimate involvement as a parent, but I just want to thank the health teachers and all of the school teachers at MMS and staff for supporting these kids. And I saw the videos and they were really, really fun. So thank you, Ms. Davenport, for honoring them today.
Just want to let everyone know what ADAPT is. In Essex County, we have a group for drug and alcohol prevention team. So that is what ADAPT stands for. It's part of the Municipal Alliance, which works to prevent substance use, particularly among our youth. And so the fact that our youth are participating and creating videos that help to teach their fellow classmates is what makes Maplewood the healthy town that it is. So thank you so much.
And now we're doing. Oh.
That was a while back.
We need to honor kids at like every meeting. This is so great.
Okay, so did you get,
Thank you.
you got the presentation?
Yes. What happens with May? There she is.
Chat with him, yeah. It was
Right.
just sent
That was
7
so
minutes
great.
ago.
In the room,
This is y'all stuff.
y'all.
Came from there.
Oh, sorry, that's why
Yeah.
you're sensitive.
Oh my, I am.
Hanging in during that fun. Those are the fun kind of things we get to do, right? So we're going to move on to special presentations and proclamations. So the Youth Advisory Committee presentation, Ms. Engel, you want to?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mayor. So I'd like to call up Ellie and Violet come up over to the podium. So our Youth Advisory Committee started last summer with these two wonderful people joining, and they're now our co-chairs. Well, as soon as we pass the ordinance, they'll be our co-chairs. But how we've been running our Youth Advisory Committee is we kind of just started talking about topics or areas where our youth thought we can use some improvements. And so these two have been working on a pitch for a project that they think we should look into for Maplewood. So with that, I introduce, go ahead, take the floor.
Hello, my name's Ellie and I'm a junior at Columbia High School.
Violet, and I'm a freshman at Columbia High School.
Together, we would like to propose a busing system eligible for teen youth in Maplewood. Currently, our problem is that there's a lack of transportation in the Maplewood Township for the middle schoolers or high schoolers because they're either too young to drive or don't have access to a car. Our solution is we are proposing that the township create a youth transportation program that uses existing town vehicles to fill this need. For example, we could start the jitney earlier in the day, which would allow for the youth to have transportation for the times in which they're out in the community. Why? Maplewood already offers a jitney system for commuters and a bus for seniors, therefore neglecting the needs of the youth. Youth need transportation to locations throughout Maplewood to further their independence, self-sufficiency, and to utilize the town's resources. In order to encourage teenagers to utilize these facilities, public transportation is essential. Without public transportation, all of these eligible resources are hard to take advantage of by geographical or age disadvantages. Not only would safe public transportation options decrease individual car gas emissions and traffic congestion, but would also create efficiency regarding transportation to local destinations. 1/3 of the residents who live in Maplewood Township are under the age of 18, and most of these people are unable to drive or properly and safely get to locations efficiently. Maplewood reinforces the idea that geographical location shouldn't limit your ability to fulfill your potential. And without a convenient way to get around town, the actions to back this up have failed. These problems have a significant impact on high schoolers due to study spaces, places to eat, and employment opportunities. Our initiative would help high school students and middle school students to effectively get around Maplewood independently and quickly. It is crucial to implement a way for teenagers to have a way to get home and get to their extracurriculars and outside of school festivities. How would it work? The youth transportation program would start around 2:30 or 3 p.m. and occur on the hour for optimal usage. It should take place up to the evening time when sport practices at Underhill and study spaces close in the Maplewood Village. These times complement the hours where teenagers are most active and are in need of ways to travel across the town to fulfill several duties such as jobs, sports, tutoring, and studying. Without these busing systems, limitations are placed on teens' ability to be active and independent, especially when Maplewood is defined as a commuter town where many parents work until 5 p.m., evidenced by the 5:22 jitney bus start times.
What locations would it serve? The destinations that would be most beneficial for the high school students include the Hilton Branch Library, D. Hart Park, the YMCA, Baker Street, Springfield Avenue, Valley Street, the Underhill Sports Complex, and Prospect Street. The YMCA would be a great destination for a stop because it provides opportunities for community involvement and activities for the youth population. Baker Street is a useful location due to its close proximity to the cluster of shops nearby and would encourage the youth population to visit and take full advantage of what the Maplewood Library has to offer. Springfield Avenue is close to many shops and to the Hilton Branch Library. Prospect Street would be a great location to have a stop because it is near the houses of many of the youth population in this community. D. Hart Park would be an excellent stop because it has many opportunities for recreational activities, is a community hub with many events at the community center, and is close to the houses of many. Valley Street would be a great destination because of its close proximity to the many fields in Maplewood. Being able to get to these fields and parks would encourage the youth population to go outside more often and to socialize with their friends while also enjoying the resources of our community. The same is true for a stop at the Underhill Sports Complex, except the Underhill Sports Complex would also allow for the youth population to utilize the track and a turf field. Overall, these locations are best suited for the transportation needs of the students due to the fact that they are close in location to the main hubs of interaction and interest for the students. This form of transportation would be an excellent resource that would allow for students to be fully committed to their activities while knowing that they will have a safe way to get home. In conclusion, this is an efficient solution to the lack of transportation in Maplewood Township for high school students. Public transportation would allow for less gas emissions and would be a better solution to our growing global pollution problems. To elaborate, providing busing for the youth around Maplewood would enforce environmental sustainability by having fewer cars drive to the school to pick up students just to drop them off at a nearby location. Getting cars off the road would also help with pedestrian safety. This method of transportation would also provide safety and security for the youth while encouraging them to participate in more activities that they are interested in pursuing. In addition, although bike lanes are helpful, they do not address this whole problem. They are helpful but insufficient to those who need quick, easy, and stress-free transportation. Furthermore, explicitly using bike routes would only provide a solution to those who have access to a bike, which is not a solution for everyone. Just bike lanes would also prove to be insufficient due to the inconsistencies of the weather and how that affects bike riders. Especially after a long school day, many students don't want to have to worry about their transportation after their activities. Furthermore, this solution would also be an extremely great help to the parents that drive around town to accommodate for their active child's interests. Some guardians are unavailable during the day because they are preoccupied with their jobs. Due to the fact that there aren't resources to help the youth with this problem in Maplewood, they are forced to travel without the efficiency the efficiency that vehicles provide as an aid in their busy lives. High schoolers need transportation to places throughout town to further their independence, to encourage self-sufficiency, and to provide opportunities for them to utilize the town's resources. We urge the Council of the Township of Maplewood to consider this proposal and to take action to implement a busing system that meets the needs of its youth population. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very well thought out, and thank you for all your work on that. Do any of my colleagues have any questions they'd like to ask for our presenters? Ms. Engel, do you want to say anything?
I thought that was a great job. Congratulations. A lot of work went into that. And I was hoping that, Mr. DeLuca, we can put this on the agenda for our next Engineering and Public Works and Planning Committee meeting, which is next Wednesday at 8 a.m. So I know you're in school at 8 a.m., but we can talk before, or if you can miss and come on, or we can figure it out. But
Also, I think it would be helpful to email that presentation to the Township Committee for consideration. Thank you so much.
I wanted to say well done. That was really a great presentation, and I like how you addressed the needs of the students and where you want to go, and how this will get cars off the road and help parents who need to get kids all around, and also kids who want to be independent, because I think that's what we're trying to do here, right? Is raise independent, self-sufficient kids, and I'm really proud of you guys for putting this together and for coming up here and presenting.
So thank you. Thanks for coming. Okay, we have Arab American Heritage Month proclamation, Mr. Daffis.
Thank you, Mayor. Proclamation honoring Arab American Heritage Month. Since 2017, Arab American Heritage Month has been observed in April. Two of the champions of the many advocates who pushed for the formal recognition of Arab American Heritage Month are the co-founders of the Arab America Foundation, Warren and Dr. Amal David. Arab American Heritage Month is about pride, education, and reasserting the tremendous role that Arab Americans have played in American history and how their contributions to American culture are irrefutable. And there are many local examples of such great Arab Americans who have contributed greatly to New Jersey. From Mayor Mohammed Kerala in Prospect Park, Mayor Andre Saye in Patterson, and many other elected officials in New Jersey. You can certainly see the local impact of Arab Americans. Nationally, there is Candace Leitner, the founder of MADD, M-A-D-D, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, whose advocacy led to over 700 bills passed nationwide to prevent other parents from experiencing the trauma and grief she did losing her daughter to a drunk driver. As of 2020, according to Rutgers, 97,154 people identify as Arab in New Jersey. And in the township of Maplewood, we have a vibrant community of Arab Americans. Like many American cultures, misconceptions, stereotypes, and outright prejudice plague the Arab American community. The Township of Maplewood is committed to fostering diversity, not just in words, but through community building and the rejection of marginalization or exclusion. Meaningful change requires more than a single conversation, protest, or moment. It is the accumulation of these efforts that reinforces our shared aspirations for ourselves, our families, and our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Dean Daffis, member of the Maplewood Township Committee, on behalf of Mayor Nancy Adams and the rest of my colleagues on the Maplewood Township Committee, proclaim April as Arab American Heritage Month and ask the public to educate themselves further, not only on those named within the proclamation and Arab American heritage at large, but also to get to know your neighbors within the community and enrich yourselves in their individual stories. Thank you.
Thank you. April is a busy month, so we have a few more proclamations. This one is for Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture a special day set aside for the planting of trees and to stress their ecological importance. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas in the 1970s, under President Richard Nixon, Arbor Day became a national holiday as part of the environmentally friendly actions of the Nixon administration. And whereas alongside beautifying our community and increasing our property values, trees are a vital resource for the continuation of the human species, from building material, fuel for fire, resources like paper, and purifying the air we breathe. And whereas from cutting, heating, and cooling costs, moderating temperature, and reducing the erosion of topsoil by wind and water, trees not only allow for our livelihoods, but also save us money. And whereas beyond our species, 3/4 of the world's documented land-based species can be found in forests. And according to the World Wildlife Foundation, in the last 50 years alone, we've lost 17% of the Amazon rainforest, which holds 1 in 10 known species on Earth. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Nancy Adams, Mayor of the Township of Maplewood, on behalf of the Maplewood Township Committee, do hereby proclaim April 25th as Arbor Day in the Township of Maplewood, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support local efforts like ours to plant and protect trees and the woodlands. Thank you. National Library Week, Mr. DeLuca.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to go down there because we have some folks from the library staff and board, if you want to join me at the podium.
I thought you guys were just here for the meeting. Everybody's just coming for their own thing.
And I love that you have your t-shirts on, you got your branding going on. Love it.
Woo!
Love it. Love it.
A giant library card.
This is the library basketball team.
Yes. How'd they do?
Their record is 0-0. One, but
Start it. Maybe we can do it outside the new library.
so this year, Library Week is important because libraries are under attack.
Yeah,
And
like everything else.
We just heard from the president on March 14th in issuing an order to eliminate the Institute of Museum and Library Services. And this is an independent agency that was created in 1996. And it's the federal government's main source of providing support to libraries. And it does that, most of that goes to the states and then to local libraries through services and programs. And so the order is that this institute should be eliminated to the maximum extent consistent with applicable law. So right now we're trying to figure out if this order is going to go through. There's opposition to it. The American Library Association has called the closing a short-sighted and an assault, and said by eliminating the only federal agency dedicated to funding library services, the administration's executive order is cutting off at the knees the most beloved and trusted of American institutions and the staff and services they offer. So I know our board at the library is paying close attention to this, and as we have done with efforts to try to ban books and censorship and everything else, we're going to issue and fight whatever we can to make sure that this doesn't go forward. So having said that, I want to read again what's important about this National Library Week for 2025. Whereas the Maplewood Memorial Library connects people to information, ideas, and each other, and is open for all. And we will be opening a new, fully sustainable, LEED Gold certified library building in the summer of 2025. And whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. And whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. And whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. And whereas libraries nurture minds through story times, programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme Drawn to the Library. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, on behalf of Mayor Nancy Adams and the entire Township Committee, proclaim April 6th to the 12th, 2025 as National Library Week. And we encourage all residents to visit the Maplewood Library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that the Maplewood Library draws us together as a community at all times and not just during National Library Week. Congratulations.
I just want to thank Maplewood Township for your tremendous support of the Maplewood Library, and also to ask everybody to exercise your freedom to read, your freedom of information. Go to your local library, get a library card. Until April 12th, we have fine forgiveness at the Maplewood Library. So come in and we will wipe out your fines and get you a clean start, because we want to see everybody.
Be there tomorrow.
Do it tomorrow, yes. We want to see everyone at the Maplewood Library this summer at our beautiful LEED Gold certified, sustainable library that will be inspiring for everyone in this community. So thank you. With me today, I have Amanda Eigen, who is the Assistant Director of the Maplewood Library. Robert Marchman is the President of the Library Board of Trustees. And our two Jennifers, we have Jennifer Latimer, who is also a library trustee, and Jennifer Hart, who is also a library trustee. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not going to keep talking. I'm just going to move this.
Sorry. Good way to control country, right? So with that, we'll move on to Ms. Engel. Could you read the Autism Acceptance Month?
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas it is estimated that 1 in 35 children born in New Jersey are on the autism spectrum in a 2021 Rutgers University study, and whereas there remain not only misconceptions regarding individuals, but also gender bias causing underdiagnosis of girls and women, and whereas dating back to 1972, when the Autism Society hosted one of the first nationwide awareness campaigns, then called National Autistic Children's Week, their advocacy has now evolved to Autism Awareness Month, and in 2007, the United Nations designated April 2nd as World Autism Awareness Day. And whereas from the depiction of autism in the media to the verbiage of saying autistic person versus person with autism, the way we see, reference, and engage with autistic people is constantly evolving. And whereas in recent years, it has been advocated that awareness is not enough, I am aware how I am different from the other committee members, those in the audience, and folks at home, but awareness isn't inclusive. Hence, in 2021, the Autism Society modified the wording to Autism Acceptance Month. There is a clear line between being aware of who is in your community and accepting them. And whereas in the Township of Maplewood, we are not blind to differences, we don't ignore intolerance, and we embrace not only people who look different from us, but also have different personal and cultural histories, and despite living in the same world, experience it in a very different manner. And whereas Maplewoodians, our goals should be to always go beyond tolerance, advocate for acceptance, and hold grace for others as we would want for ourselves. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Deb Engel, on behalf of Nancy Adams, Mayor of the Township of Maplewood, and the rest of the Township Committee, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Autism Acceptance Month in the Township of Maplewood, and implore our businesses, our citizens, and those beyond our borders to recognize and act on the effect you can have on a person's life, and whenever possible, choose kindness, give grace, and seek understanding. Thank you.
Now we'll move on to boards and committee appointments. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Herman because you have all of them.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us through this meeting. I hope you had a lot of fun. We've got 3 committees that we're going to be appointing to. And we're going to start with the senior committee. Kate Riley, could you please come up to the podium and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the senior advisory committee?
Good evening.
Good evening.
This has been a fun evening.
Yes.
We haven't even gotten to the business yet.
Smaller crowd right now, but
It'll continue to dwindle. Yes.
my name is Kate Riley. I've lived in Maplewood for about 5.5 years now. I got in just under the wire in 2019 before all the madness hit. Was formerly a federal government employee, so did not really get involved in local government or, restrictions on federal employees in the past were a thing. So, as of last year, I left the federal government. I'm an attorney to go into private practice.
Good choice.
Started
turns
my own
out.
practice. Yeah, I did it almost exactly a year ago now. So I guess I had I don't know. I hate to say that I saw what was coming, but on some level I did. I worked for immigration too, so and I'm an immigration attorney. But I have one of the reasons I decided to leave federal service is because I was interested in getting more civically engaged, irrespective of how the election went. It's just sort of been a lot for the past,
2 months.
many years, and just wanting to be able to be more involved.
Yeah.
So I've, been educating myself and getting more engaged locally, and joining the senior committee is one way I'd like to do that. I was asked a couple of times, why the senior committee? I'm not a senior myself, obviously. But I think, seniors are an important part of our community that can often be overlooked. And I've seen family and friends as they've aged, either get pushed out of communities or become very isolated. And I think not only does that negatively affect those individuals, but it affects, everyone around them. Seniors provide a lot of value to the community. When we were kids, not myself, and I don't remember why I didn't, but my sister, I grew up in Jersey City. My sister, when she was 14 years old or so, got a job with a youth and elderly services program in Jersey City, where, the job was, as a 14-year-old kid, to go and visit with seniors in the community, maybe take them shopping or just kind of sit with them. And, it was the kids got a lot out of it, she got a lot out of it, and the seniors got a lot out of it. And, finding those ways to engage people in a community, I think is so important. So I would like to be a part of the senior committee because I'd like to be able to understand. I understand a little bit of what the concerns of the senior community are in Maplewood, but I'd like to understand more and maybe be able to provide some perspective and help in how to engage and help the senior population.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Herman, would you like to move?
Yes, I move we appoint Kate Riley to the Senior Advisory Committee.
I'll second.
Ms. Fritzen.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you for stepping up and thank you.
Congratulations, Kate. Thank you.
Our next individual is also for the Senior Advisory Committee, James Collins Colding. Please come up to the podium and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to join the Senior Advisory Committee. And just to explain, the Senior Advisory Committee can have members who are not seniors themselves.
Oh.
The ordinance allows for both, which is a really great intergenerational way of working.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Jane Collins Colding, and I'm here to be on the senior committee, and I would love to because number one, it's personal for me. I will tell you a little bit about myself because, of course, I'm running for Township Council as well. And if you go on Facebook, you will see my bio. I don't want to bore you too much, but I worked with Bright Star right on 515 Valley Street many years ago, and that's not part of my portfolio, but I worked with them. And I worked with a lot of seniors. So that's what really started my curiosity of taking care of seniors. And I visited their homes. I saw how vulnerable they were. And then I come from a very large family where my aunts have aged. My mother is much older, and I'm taking care of her. So there are some issues that I personally experienced, programs. And thank God I was able to find a home in West Orange, which is the UJA, that has all the programs built in. There's a wire right across the street. Many days she will have 2 or 3 programs. And one of the things I think we don't have here, I didn't see, she has a political news program where they go and discuss what's happening politically in the world today and what's happening on the news. So I said, that's interesting because it keeps her engaged and it keeps her energized. So I really like that. So part of taking care of my mom was all the things that she needed and I didn't know about. So I really had to deep into Medicaid, Medicare, medicines, quality programs that were available for her, and we have no help. And having senior projects and programs available to seniors, they say you're young twice, when you're a baby and when you get older. And the quality of your life, reduces significantly because family is not so present in your life. And seniors are very vulnerable. Nowadays, they're more anxious and they are very much alone. There's no one to take care of them. The programs are not readily available to them. So seniors really need our help. They need all of our help in implementing and helping them with a quality of life that they are deserving of. They lived once and the life still continues. It's not until, you get older, you start to just age and the things you used to do, you can't do anymore. So we really it's just not the people who are sitting on the committees. We all need to get involved in senior care because it's a big portion of our lives. And if we all can put in little time in helping getting them out, getting them exposed to different programs that are out there. I love that they do the yoga program. I love all the programs to do, but we do have to give them a quality of life. And also to the board and the trustees and the committee, I would like to say, part of what we need to do is make sure they have equity on the table when they do the budget programs, that they are not being cut, because that's a very sensitive and serious programs that we need to keep for our seniors. Some of the things we need to really make sure that they have those programs that are continuous for them. That's the lifeline. Those are the things that depend on day to day. I get calls from my mom saying, I'm going to this program today. You can't pick me up today because I'm going to my political news program today. I really like to, and it helps me a lot that I don't have to pick her up day to day and ask her, do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to go to the supermarket? So that is a blessing in disguise. So hopefully, the committee continues the programs and we, Kate and I, as we join, will bring a fresh perspective to the program and we'll be able to engage more. And a little bit about me, running for city council. I am running for city council. Just want to let everybody know. And I'm a mom of 5 and I have been in, Maplewood for about 5 years, and I've been married for 27 years. People say, how long have you been married for? I've got lots of questions about my personal life. So I just want to let you all know my information is on Facebook. You can, tag me on and just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I love that idea of a political discussion group. That's wonderful. So I move that we appoint Jane Collins-Colding to the Senior Advisory Committee.
Second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
DeLuca?
Yes.
Sengel?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you. We'll move on to the next.
Yes.
Congrats, Jane.
The next committee is the Recreation Advisory Committee.
Thanks for your patience.
I'm going to call up,
Right.
Gabe, you're going to have to help me with your last name. Gabri Midheen.
Yeah, like that.
Deborah Medlin. Deborah Medlin.
Like he said it.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Gabe Gubbermetin, Hilton. I live in the Hilton neighborhood. Yeah. My wife has knocked on your door many, many, many times.
He's probably knocked on your door many ways.
I've lived in Maplewood for 10 years. I have a 14-year-old boy and an 11-year-old girl. He plays soccer, basketball, done baseball. She plays softball, done basketball as well. I'm going to actually go home and tell my son that if he had won the championship, he would have been here.
Ouch.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
By day, I'm a revenue operations director at a software company. So I help corporations figure out how to be efficient and be effective in generating more dollars. And then by night, my wife and I are Uber drivers because my kids go in many different directions. Sports activities that they have. So anyways, I want to be a board member for the rec committee, obviously because I have a firsthand experience with my kids, kind of having been part of a lot of these rec programs. It's incredibly impactful, but then obviously there are also a lot of challenges in terms of accessibility, facilities, fields, you name it. Also, I play soccer whenever I have free time. So there's a group of 100, 200 dads that go all over Maplewood and South Orange, West Orange, Florham Park to find space to actually kind of play the game that we love. So it means I also have a firsthand experience around the challenges that we have in terms of access and equitability. So that's
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I move that we appoint Gabe.
That's good enough.
To the
Gabe G.
I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it to the Recreation Advisory Committee.
Second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Sengel?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you, Gabe. Thanks so much.
Congrats, Gabe. Thank you for stepping up.
And our next individual for the Recreation Advisory Committee is Miguel Cervantes. Please come up, tell us a little bit about yourself. You can do it in song if you choose.
Yeah, Miguel, you can sing. You can sing your pitch.
In my other life, I'm very qualified to be on the rec committee because I went to school for musical theater. So you skills I learned in theater school. No, I grew up in Texas. I went to school for theater. Was on Broadway for a little while in a little show, Hamilton for a bit. And
Heard of that.
yeah,
Is it still allowed to be?
I don't. Ever since I left, I hear it's gone way downhill. It's really terrible. But I have. I'm actually one of the co-founders of the Adult Softball League here in town, the co-ed. We started that a few years ago. My son plays baseball. My daughter is moving into playing softball. I own dingers. We started a batting cage because after Broadway is batting cages, right? Clearly. So I am sort of surrounded by the youth of the town and all of the activities. We house soccer, and so soccer, baseballs, all kinds of different stuff there. So Joe and I are very understanding of the needs of the community, both facilities-wise and accessibility-wise. And I am really interested in helping to further the conversation about what those of us who parents who are there every day and look at what's going on and have ideas, lots and lots of ideas, but no way to figure out how to get it done. And if there's one thing that I like to do is to ask someone if I can do it myself. So that's why I'm here. And so hopefully we can help.
Awesome.
That's great.
Great, thank you so
Forgot
much.
to mention Little All-Stars.
Yeah. And I
Way
was
back when you taught some of those kids that were up here.
before I got Hamilton, I started a company where I would teach 4-year-olds to play baseball. Now, granted, I don't really know how to play baseball. I've learned since then, but it's baseball is like children's theater. It was children's theater baseball style.
Awesome.
Great.
I move that we appoint Miguel to the Recreation Advisory Committee.
I'll second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Luca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you.
Congrats, Miguel, and thank you. Thank you.
I'm not going to say how tempted I was to ask you to do a number, you know?
There you go. There you
I know most of that too.
I want to hit a home run.
Miguel, we try really hard not to get Mr. DeLuca to say.
Nice.
Guys, hold on one second, because I want you to meet the next person who is going to join the Recreation Advisory Committee, Kate Phillips Rumley.
No, you can.
Two more.
You don't have to say.
No, I
You'll
just,
be
I
more on
just,
your.
she'll be on the committee with you. You might,
It's nice to meet you.
Hi.
So my name is Katie Phillips Rumley. Love having to follow a Broadway performer. Easy. So I've lived here for almost 20 years now. I have a 19-year-old who went through all the public schools, graduated from Columbia last year. She was in Mamma Mia. Many of you.
she starred.
Yes, she was amazing.
Thank you. I also have a 13-year-old son who has been out of district since kindergarten due to his special needs. And that is kind of the primary thing that brought me here, is that I really want to see more opportunities for all children, of course, in our community recreationally, but particularly it's been challenging for my son to get him involved in the community where he's been born and lived his entire life, especially being that he isn't in school here. I really want him to feel like he's a part of this community and to walk down the street like all kids do and say, hey, I know you. So with a particular lens on helping kids with special needs find community in our amazing community. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you so much. I move that we appoint Katie Phillips Rumley to the Recreation Advisory Committee.
Second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Luca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you.
Congrats, Katie.
Welcome.
Thank you and welcome.
We have two
And
more.
we're now done with the Recreation Advisory Committee.
Not one more.
No, we got one
Wait,
more.
Maurice.
Maurice John.
Oh, Maurice John is out of the country and won't be able to make it to this meeting.
But we still need to appoint him.
Oh, can we do that in his absence?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Oh, all right. Maurice John is a longtime member of Maplewood who lives in the Hilton area, and he is on a adult soccer team as well and is interested in joining our Recreation Advisory Committee. He couldn't make it tonight. I believe his wife is here because she's joining our pool committee. So I move that we appoint Mr. John to the Recreation Advisory Committee.
I'll second.
Well,
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Luca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
yes. One more?
Excellent. All right. And then we've got two
more.
people for the pool committee. So I'll go to Miss John, Tatiana John, if you could come up. And we won't make you tell us about your husband. You can just talk about yourself and the pool committee. No, I was joking. No, just talk about yourself.
I've actually been a resident of Maplewood for 31 years. And ironically, this summer was the first time I ever went to the pool. So I feel like coming on, I can come with a new perspective, a new viewpoint. I went to the pool as do the Soma Justice, getting my kids swim lessons. My daughter's 15, my son is 12, and they were kids who were afraid to get into the water. And by the end of the summer, my daughter water test.
Nice.
My son all day, every day now. When are we going back to the pool? Needing to open the pool. I'm like, no.
Sort of.
I can come with a new perspective, a new viewpoint, maybe ideas of getting people like me who are in Maplewood, who haven't come to the pool for whatever reasons, whether they're scared or just don't know about it, don't have people. So you can meet other kids. My kids were able to meet other kids. They go to private school, so they don't know a lot of the kids in the community, but they were able to meet some. So, I feel like I can come with a different viewpoint.
That's great.
I love it. I think when we talked, you said you didn't come because you weren't like, we're not pool people.
No.
And now you are.
Wow.
That's so great.
Remember Action Park? Almost drowned in Action Park years ago. But now I got in. I got my husband who we've been together for over 20 years and he got in the water and I was like, I didn't even know you could do anything in the water. So no, it was a great experience. It was welcoming. I got to meet other people in the community that probably live, a street over from me, but I've never met and I got to, so.
Great, great. Thank you. I'm so excited for you to join the pool committee. I move that we appoint Tatiana John to the Pool Advisory Committee.
I'll second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you very much. Last one.
Thank you, Tatiana.
One more person for the pool committee as well, Leontine Harry. Please come up and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to join the Maplewood Pool Committee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leontine Harry. I'm currently I'm pursuing my public administration degree at Rutgers, so my master's. So my kids are both from Maplewood. My daughter's actually graduating this year from Maplewood High, not Maplewood, Columbia. I'm nervous.
It's okay. You're good.
So my kids know how to swim. So I got introduced to the Maplewood Pool through Soma Justice as an adult swimmer, learner, still learning. But one of the things that I noticed as I, gradually became familiar with the pool is that I noticed folks that didn't look like me at the pool so often. Every time I went there, they didn't look like me. So my main interest also is like, what are the barriers as to why when I go to the pool, folks don't look like me that often, right? And even when I invited my kids also, they don't want to come to the pool either. They're like, I don't want to come to the pool. There's no kids there. There's no kids my age there also. So that was one thing also I wanted to bring to the table as to why the kids also are not engaged in the pool, because mostly when we go to the pool, I go for swimming, folks are there, relaxing and, reading their books and things of that nature. But there's no kids in the teens or, early 20s. Like what is the barriers? Like, why are the kids not going there? And they said the pool's just for families. So if I'm not there, they're not going. But if I'm going, they're still not going either, right? Because their friends are not going either. So that was like one of my main interests is to, bring to that perspective, understand the barriers as to why folks are not at the pool. Is it something where it's like financial reason? Is it something whereby the pool is not being advertised? Also, folks not knowing. I recently just started going to the pool like 2 years ago, and I've been a part of this community since 2019. So I usually drive past it, and that's just basically it. But for the most part, like that is the reason why I want to get to that understanding, and also try to like put some of my learning also that I'm learning in school into this field as well. Try to understand it more, like have the firsthand experience as well as what I'm learning in class also. So that's like my main reason why I want to join the pool.
That's great.
Thank you. Great, thank you. I move that we appoint Leontine Harry to the Maplewood Pool Committee.
Second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you very much.
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
Leontine. Thank you for
Welcome.
stepping up. Thank you. And good luck
that
with your
concludes-
studies. Look out, Pat. He's coming for your job.
right, y'all.
All of our boards and committees, you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Okay, we're going to move on to presentation. Mr. Weary, can you please move over for, as a panelist, Mr. Bing and Amani Moody? Is the BA?
If Mr. Bing would raise his hand, I will move him over to panelist.
And also the BA, Imani.
And yes, same with Mr. Moody. If you'd raise your hand, I'll move you over to panelist. Ah, that's why. All right. If you would unmute yourselves, and if you want to turn on your video, I have your slide presentation. I'll bring that up after your introductions.
Hello, everyone.
Everyone, we just wanted to give everyone an update on the 25-26 budget. I want to emphasize that it is still a work in progress. We have to approve it April 24th. I do want to introduce Mr. Imani Moody. He is our new business administrator. I will pause for a round of applause.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Not quite sure how we'll be sharing the presentation. I believe we've sent it over.
I think our administrator is.
Received it, yes.
Can you guys see it okay?
Yes, you can. Yes.
We will adhere to the 10 minutes we promised. So turn over to Amani.
Thank you. You can advance the slide, or essentially what I want to do. Again, thank you for that warm welcome. It's been a pleasure learning about Maplewood Recreation and the pool business and stuff. But we, being new to the district as recently as December, my start date, we really dove into a process here to engage in a great deal of discovery about what has taken place prior to our arrivals, really, and to learn what was in the 24-25 budget that our predecessors set up for us for the school district, but then to engage in a very deep budget development process on our own for the 25-26 year. We took a bit of a different approach. So I'm just going to give a kind of a 30,000-foot view of how we engaged in that process. Essentially, we met and decided to really do a ground-up budget build, zero-based budgeting, to really look at every line, account line, every area of the school system, all 10 schools, and all of the various different departments, all the capital budgeting needs and the like. We then projected out our revenue and looked at what was likely to be our new revenue for the 25-26 year. As folks know, there's a great deal of change afoot in the macro environment and the federal level, and a lot of uncertainty around state aid and the like. So we engaged in a process that was really granular and detailed, and sought to make solid projections for revenue, as well as enrollment, the likely enrollment that we would face in the school district for the year to come. We then took a look at the broad spectrum sets of expenditures for the prior 24-25 year, and did research into even the 23-24 year, and really everything that we could do discovery on to be certain that we had the best picture of current situation and what is working, and then likely best rationale for projection for the new budget year 25-26. And then we gave consideration to, given all of our decision making, what the commensurate tax impact would be, and we set up our budget calendar and powered forward. So next slide. Next slide, please. Yes.
So we've had various meetings around the budget, as you can see from this slide, including town halls, various community conversations. a lot of surveys, board meetings, board committee meetings, and so forth, trying to be as transparent as possible during these difficult times. I think you've all read the headlines, whether it's West Orange, Montclair, East Orange. A lot of districts are struggling this year. We anticipate the same over the next few years, as the current state formula just doesn't make sense for South Orange Maplewood School District. We've been doing a lot of advocating down there. Our parents have been writing also to advocate, so hopefully the formula will be changed within the next few years. That would better benefit us. But as we've been discussing with our folks in-house and with our community, it's going to be very lean years for the next few years. Go ahead.
Thanks. Yes. Next slide. This is a snapshot of our budget calendar. We're kind of in the latter stages of this, with next date being April 16th, our Finance, Facility, and Technology Committee meeting. We also have our final budget review with our full board, and our board presentation, our board public hearing presentation for the 25-26 budget, which is our final budget presentation. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so our preliminary budget was submitted to the county on March 19th. It was a gargantuan effort really to get everything settled prior to that date. We were able to get that in. It's still a work in progress. We're fine-tuning and making some refinements based on new information that's coming in. And our final version is due to the county end of April. Next slide, please.
As Mr. Moody noted, one of the advantages or opportunities we had being so new was the fact that we could do a zero-based budget for 24-25 and 25-26, meaning we really looked at every line item, especially the large ones, including transportation, which we're currently looking at, and a few other very large line items, with an emphasis on keeping our facilities line items intact. As we all know, the buildings are not in the best shape. We did not want to cut all funding from facilities, so we wanted to keep an emphasis on making sure these buildings are a great learning, excuse me, learning environment for our students.
Absolutely. Thank you, Superintendent Bing. And actually, continuing through this revenue picture, there a lot of discovery rendered things like, of course, we know that we were able to get a 2% tax levy here. We were able to get an enrollment adjustment to the tune of about $850K. We were blessed with about $600K in additional state aid. A lot of municipalities and townships and cities did not get what we got there. So, but we also have found that given our need to keep up our facilities and to do the necessary maintenance, we really did have to also tap into our maintenance reserve a little further. As you can see, that was done in 24-25 to the tune of 1.5 million. And we had to earmark special one-time projects from a maintenance standpoint that we would leverage 2.5 additional million from our maintenance reserve budget to address. So this calls upon a larger challenge that the district is facing, and that is around the reserves and the fund balances that exist. They've been materially depleted over the last several years, and we need to kind of turn the tide there. We need to start experiencing savings and adding back to fund balance to be good fiscal stewards for the school district moving forward, and not just next year and in the years ahead. As you can see, unassigned fund balance for this budget year, we had to tap in to the tune of 4.459 million to supplement our expenditures and to keep the level of curriculum and instruction moving forward and to provide a thorough and efficient education. So other highlights are that there was a lot of borrowing prior to our arrival for those facilities needs, and that borrowing, or there was an array of bond issuances from 2014 through 2024, and in order to pay the principal and interest debt service on that, we do get a bit of debt service aid from the state to the tune of 2.8 million. We had about 1.1 million in remaining debt service fund balance, but there's also an increase to the debt service tax levy to service those bonds. Next slide, please. So this is kind of like the picture of revenue in broad strokes here. As you can see, around 83.3% tax levy, 7.9% state aid, maintenance reserve at about 1.5% of the budget, and then budgeted fund balance 6.7, and then local revenue around 0.7. We also got a little bit of semi-aid, but it's like almost negligible due to the changes in the funding formula that brought that revenue down some to about 22,000. So next slide. Here we have just a picture, a broad picture of our enrollment and the trends really over the last 10 years. As you can see, moving up towards pandemic times, we peaked out. This is just the high school, but you'll see the same trend across middle schools and elementary school. We did have a decline in enrollment and then a turning of the tide moving back upwards. And actually for the district, our state has, whereas we have a current enrollment of around 6,831 students, we're projecting 7,143 for the coming year. You can take it through the next slide to middle schools and similar patterns there. And then elementary schools next.
The district will need to engage in another demographic study in the coming year. Our current one ends 25-26. So it will probably engage in another demographics 5-year to 7-year demographic study. As you can see through this slide, the decline since 2019-20. However, as Mr. Moody noted, according to the state software, we're looking at a possibility of another 200 increase of 200 students in the upcoming school year. Go ahead, next slide.
So in terms of expenditures, this is the full the full budget for general fund budget. These are the broad categories, by function. As is clear here, our largest expenditure is around $82 million in salaries. Of course, our greatest asset in our district are our teachers and staff. And then you can also see in benefits, $22 million. It's kind of like the second largest. So that's around 100 million of the 170 million is earmarked towards our teaching staff and the folks that hold the district together. Of course, we do have tuition costs to the tune of about 13.6 million. We have custodial costs around 14 million. What we found to be the case across our analysis of the budget is that a great deal of outsourcing had taken place prior to our arrival, and so a great many of the sets of services are in fact outsourced. That being, transportation, custodial, security, pretty much everything that's, not teaching staff, food services and the like. So a large part of what have endeavored to do is to right size those service contracts and just make certain that we're being appropriately covered and in gathering the sources of funding and directing them towards their most highly impactful uses. You can go to the next slide. So some of the phenomena that we faced here is, or what's present in this budget, is we budgeted at for salary increases that are projected based on our current rates of negotiations with our SEMEA union. So based on where we have a tentative agreement, we're still working out some things, but this is the basis for the projections around salary for the coming year. We also projected increases in health benefit costs at around 15%. Same for utilities and insurance costs. There are a great many perspectives out there on the likely growth in those costs, but all of them are, on the higher side, about 5% in custodial costs. But we also took a very detailed look at visible trends across our different sets of contracts. And we looked at the language in those contracts, and we're still, discussing and negotiating with our vendors and choosing our vendor options to make certain that we've optimized things and we can be very efficient in terms of our distribution of resources, but then also, get the value and lower costs. Next slide, please. We also projected our costs for special ed education out of district placement for tuition. We looked at all of the existing demand for services and even made solid, rational projections for the coming year, and then based our decision making on that. Next slide. Transportation, as I mentioned, another one of the outsourced services for the district. We are anticipating about a 3.57% growth in costs there, but we are reviewing and exploring every way conceivable to be more efficient in the administration of our transportation services, up to including evaluating a hub system to enhance efficiencies, and also reevaluating all the different district routes and exploring opportunities to refine, but also optimizing bus sizes and capacity utilization of our buses. Next slide. This is kind of like just a summary slide that talks about our operating levels and our special revenue and our debt service, and shows that both the revenue and the expenditure side are balanced. Next slide. So some of the budget challenges I mentioned before were, I talked about our fund balance and how we are called upon as fiscal stewards of resources for the district to really be mindful of how much we have in the way of savings year over year. And while those savings are there for the purpose of dealing with any threats or opportunities, and as as we all know, circumstances can change drastically. So we have to be prudent about our fiscal management. So in the 24-25 year, where we have engaged in this very detailed, granular approach to managing the budget and extracting value, we're likely to return about $9 million in savings to fund balance. That said, we can only really budget from about 4.8 million in total for use in the 25-26 budget year. Out of that 4.8, we are leveraging in our current presentation around 4.45 million to be allocated in the 25-26 year. I mentioned earlier that urgent maintenance needs have led us to identify one-time maintenance projects totaling around 2.5 million that are slated to be completed in the 25-26 year, and then on a case-by basis, we will evaluate them over the year and then engage in that process. Also, and you'll see a little bit more clarity on this in the next slides, but about 6.89 million in audited fund balance was earmarked, and that's around 2%, earmarked out of our audit process for use in the 25-26 year. Our prior year audit process rendered a $7.044 million required fund balance use. So each time we have an audit, it's incumbent upon our auditors to earmark 2 subsequent years of 2% dollar amounts for use in the subsequent years. So those are numbers that kind of predated our arrival, but they are earmarked for use in those subsequent years, and it'll become a bit clearer when we go to the next slide. So the next slide looks at those reserves, and we look at the June 30, 24 balances, and we are hovering around 33 million or so. But that audit process renders 7.44 million to be used in 2025. That's this fiscal year, as well as our predecessors had decided to dip into our capital reserve to the tune of 4.267 million and our maintenance reserve for the 1.5 million. So that's already almost $13 million of the $33 million that was in fund balance as of June 30, 24 that was slated for use in 25. I mentioned as well that we're projecting to add back $9 million in this fiscal year 25 ending June 30. But then, our audit for 24 rendered that additional 6.89 million, which is to be budgeted in 2026. If you add that to the 4.45 million that I mentioned earlier, that's where you get to the 11.3 million for use in 2026, along with the maintenance reserve use of around 2.5. So that's an additional $14 million in fund balance for use, which takes us down to a projected June 30, 26 fund balance of around 14.7 million. Now, we like to be very cautionary about this because this is what we found after a tremendously granular process of managing the budget for 24-25 and then identifying savings and then attempting to add back for the 25-26 year. but you still see a rapid decline in fund balance. Projecting that forward, we're kind of looking at fiscal cliff scenarios here that a lot of the neighboring districts and municipalities are facing. So we are kind of we're rising to the challenge and planning to be even more fiscally prudent in the year to come, and to try to engage in more in the way of savings while still providing a world-class, thorough, and efficient education. Next slide. So I mentioned that we engaged in the reduction of its expenses, vendor contract optimization. There are vacant positions that are unfilled due to demand. There's retirements, some of which are not being replaced due to reallocations and internal transfers and the like. I also mentioned that we had this year several increases. So we got our 2% tax levy. We did have an enrollment adjustment of $850K. Miscellaneous revenue increase, extraordinary aid increase of $500K. And we did get our state aid at a 6% level of $619K, as well as an increase in preschool revenue of about $1 million. Next slide. So what we have here is, this is the 2% tax levy going from 24-25 level of 138 million to 141 million for 25-26. When you put in the enrollment waiver, that takes it up to about 2.62% growth. Our debt service tax levy in 24-25 was 5.6 million, and it's projected in 25-26 to grow to 9 million. That's really as a result of what we encountered. Another thing that we encountered when we came to the district is the district was facing a debt service tax levy increase due to what's called a yield arbitrage restriction liability that had been eclipsed prior to our arrival. Essentially, with the issuance of so much in the way of bonds in the prior 5 to 10 years, that money then sat with asset managers and then incurred interest and returns that were larger than what's allowed by law. So the district was called upon to return about $3.5 million in excess earnings on that money back to the IRS. So it then reshaped how the tax levy had to be formed in order to continue to pay down that debt that was decided upon in prior years. A lot of the projects that debt went to finance are trending towards completion, and we're monitoring all of that very closely. Next slide. This is the array of bonds that I was referring to from issued in 2014 through 2024, totaling the 13.033 million in principal and interest payments in the 25-26 budget year. Next, budget highlights. So kind of in summary here, I referred to the 2.5 million in maintenance reserve for one-time projects. We talked about reprioritizing additional projects for future potential BOES bond issuances, or even other forms of bond issuance like ESIP bonds, like Energy Savings Improvement Plan bonds, which you can borrow and then do energy enhancing projects and then track the savings and where that bond issuance then pays for itself. We also did not budget for unfilled vacancy positions where the demand is not present. And we held to our driving kind of North Star here of having 0 reductions in staff in the 25-26 year, given the prior year budget cycle.
Well, I mean, as you can see, over the next few years, we're going to have some difficult decisions to make. Our goal is to engage the community around these current and upcoming challenges. As noted, we see districts right around us facing those challenges as of today. We are hoping that we can get through this year and look to plan out for the next few years to avoid any major layoffs or major program reductions, as you've seen in the headlines as of late. We are trying to ensure that all resources are being utilized efficiently and effectively. As Mr. Moody noted, we are right sizing, whether that's staff, courses, materials, technology, facilities, curriculum and instruction, service contracts. We are looking at everything uh, over the next few years to ensure we'll be able to balance this budget and meet all of our students' needs. Some of our opportunities, as Mr. Moody noted, obviously our energy savings, as well as we're in the midst of starting to write our long-range facility plan. We'll be starting our strategic planning over the next few months, and also working on our 5-year technology plan. We do appreciate the time all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bing, and thank you, Mr. Moody, for that comprehensive look at your budget. I would ask if there's any questions, but I don't think we want to engage that here. Members of this group can attend the Board of Ed meeting and ask questions or reach out to Mr. Bing or Mr. Moody offline, if that's okay. All right. Yeah.
Yes, please do.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, with that, we move on to first public comment, agenda items only. Come on up, yeah, you can, introduce yourself and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, great. Thanks. My name's Karen Elliott. I saw you guys here last time. And I'm here representing single folks, child-free folks. In this meeting, we saw so many wonderful representations of diversity, of acceptance, inclusion, equity, and equality. And that is why I have to ask you all to vote no on the pool fee schedule tonight and send it back to the pool committee for reworking. And the reason is because this schedule as proposed is discriminatory and substantially disadvantages individuals and child-free persons. Based on the proposed fee structure, individual members will pay 138.5% of what couples pay per person, 180% of what a family of 3 pays per person, 238% of what a family of 4 pays per person, and it just gets worse from there. Additionally, the fee rules require that couples who sign up live in the same abode while making no such requirements for families with caregivers. This situation, this discrimination seems pretty plain and simple, and I can't even believe it would be tolerated by a town that invests so much in equity and equality. I'm an avid pool user, as are my neighbors who are single, child-free people. And I think that it would be great if the committee, the pool committee and the Maplewood Town Committee would adopt a standard adult fee and standard child fee for residents. That would make it equal, equitable across the board. Additionally, we have a tendency to do these open access on hot days. And that's kind of challenging for those of us who pay to be members and go use the pool. I would request that the pool committee take into account limiting some hours, making it not after 5, and definitely not on weekends. I know it gets hot. Our hotter days are coming more and more frequently. But those of us who are paying a lot of money out of our own pockets. And frankly, I have to save all year to afford my pool fee. So when I see folks coming in and it becomes like a hot human soup in that pool, it's kind of disgusting. And I don't really want to, use it because it's dirty and it's really, really crowded. I think that there can be some bumpers put on that make it workable for everyone. I also think that I'm going to request that the pool committee and town committee remember that this is a community pool. It's not a families with children pool. And there are many adults in Maplewood who live in child-free homes, who use the pool, and our concerns should also be included when the pool committee meets. It appears that there is an insufficient representation of single child-free voices, and diversity in this case is not only racial, ethnic, and age inclusive, it should include single persons, as we are people who pay for our pool membership. One of the newly elected committee members to the pool, Leontine Harry's comments referring to her own race, age, and economic concerns made me think that the pool should possibly engage in an audit or a study of who's actually using the pool, because more information should be gathered. We should have actual real information. I don't see the same thing that she's seeing. I see an abundance of diverse individuals there of all ages, of all economic statuses. And I think that it would be great if we really knew what was going on. Thank you so much for your time. I know I went over.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak to the Township Committee online or in the room?
If anyone on Zoom would like to speak in public portion on agenda items, please raise your hand now. Moving over Alana to panelist. Welcome to public portion, Alana. You may unmute yourself and address the committee.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to thank Karen for speaking up and also just add that I've done an audit myself of the surrounding pools in the area, and anything that comes close to the rates that we're charging has significantly longer hours and days in which they're open, many of them opening as early as May 17th to the public. And I believe last year we opened like June 19th or 18th or something. So that's a whole month longer, which, you know, seems to justify the rates that we're charging a little bit more than what we're currently doing. So I just wanted to add that. I'm happy to share the research I've done in terms of the hours and the rates. I've looked at about 10 other pools in surrounding towns, both in this county and other counties, some of which you are not even allowed to bring a chair because they supply them for you. And you know, our pool, you are required to bring a chair pretty much because there's very few to be shared. So just wanted to share some additional information, research I've done on this matter as well.
Appreciate it. Would you email it to anyone on the Township Committee or our clerk?
Sure. I've emailed about this matter a couple times before and no one's responded. Is there one email that works better than the others?
To the clerk.
To the clerk, it's Liz Fritzen. So it's L Fritzen, FRITZEN at maplewoodnj.gov.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, Mr. Worry?
Yes, moving over Diane Oskowski to panelist.
While we're waiting, I'll take a motion to go past 9:30.
Second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Luca?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
Furman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you.
Welcome to public portion, Diane. You may address the committee.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen. This has to do with the pool as well, and I believe that was Karen and Alana who just spoke in reference to it. And you know, I'm a single child-free person in the community, which I've been here for about like 7 years now, and I have also done, you know, some research as well that goes with Karen and Alana's information that they provided. And again, as a single person, you know, the fees are quite high for an individual child-free. But in addition to that, I just wanted to mention also, or maybe just, you know, as a suggestion, you know, I know there's like swim meets, which, you know, that are held at the Maplewood, you know, community pool. And I think that's great. But the thing is, you know, it's held like right smack in the middle of the afternoon sometimes. And that's kind of like the high point of especially on like, you know, on the hot days. And, you know, honestly, I feel that could cause like, you know, a hazard, having that many people, you know, at the pool. And there's, you know, there's kids there, of course, you know, and it's just, you know, I would suggest, you know, maybe having like the swim meets, like, you know, prior to, you know, the pool, you know, opening, you know, for the day, it might be a little safer. I appreciate you taking the time, you know, listening, and I definitely agree with Alana and Karen about the pool fees. as a individual child-free household. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else, Mr. Wary?
Anyone else would like to speak in public portion? Please raise your hand now. I see no other hands, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll close the public comment for agenda items only. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Engel for a Board of Health meeting. Probably the latest Board of Health meeting we've.
I almost forgot about it. I lost my
You
agenda.
need the agenda.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2025 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2024, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Mayor Adams,
Here.
Staffis,
Here.
Mr. DeLuca.
Here.
Ms. Herman,
Here.
Ms. Engel.
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires the rulings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the Board of Health has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting, and whereas desire the Maplewood Board of Health to comply with the provisions of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be it resolved by the Maplewood Board of Health, the Township of Maplewood, that it is hereby prohibited except set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in deliberations of the Board of Health by the public, except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observation of the actions and discussions of the Board of Health at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes. I move to approve the Board of Health meeting minutes from March 4th, 2025.
Second.
Mayor Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes. Take it away, Ms. Davenport.
Hello, good evening. I just want to say a few words based on the current situation that's going on right now. In light of the federal funding cuts to public health of $11 billion, this week we are seeing the decimation of the federal, state, and local public health workforce. On behalf of the whole health department and my colleagues around the state, I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for your steadfast and unwavering support for the public health workforce, both Maplewood and our sister town, South Orange. Standing with your local health department demonstrates that you value a healthy town, that everyone in the community deserves to be healthy, to live up to their greatest potential, to love who they want, and that we believe that we are stronger together and more than what divides us. So thank you.
Thank you.
My first slide is what we acknowledged before, the 7th grade class of Maplewood Middle School and their Great American smoke-free videos, as well as their vaping videos. Everyone can see their videos here if you click on the slides, and they'll be available on our website. Next slide. Really proud of them. For the second year in a row, proud of us, Mayor's Wellness Campaign has won the Healthy Town designation. Woo! I'm happy to present on behalf of the Mayor's Wellness Campaign and the New Jersey Healthcare Quality Institute, this plaque to the Township of Maplewood for your commitment to improving the health and wellness of your community. Provide that to you.
Major
Thank you so
award.
much.
Another photo?
Oh, yes, would you like to do another photo?
Sure.
There's a banner.
We've
Got to do a
we-
press release, right?
First and then do the photo.
Good idea.
Okay, good idea. We've gone over at this point.
On May 3rd, we are happy to say that we are going to have a Maplewood Health Fair, and we are partnering with our Maplewood Police Department and Easy Ride to provide a bike rodeo, which are all free. Free health screenings, free food and activities, live music, and giveaways, raffles, and prizes. This will be held at D Hart Park from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we also want to acknowledge our partners at the Hilton Neighborhood Association who are helping us promote the health fair as well. As for our nursing update, for the month of March, we investigated 5 reportable infectious diseases. Our nurse was able to provide 5 immunization re-audits of childcare centers and provided 12 senior building health screenings on March 28th. Next slide. Let's talk about measles in New Jersey. So this is just an example of where the outbreaks are around the state, around the country, excuse me. Next slide. I just want to emphasize here that when I reported back to you in February, the number of cases across the country was 164. Currently in March is 483 cases of active measles. Most of them are of unknown or unvaccinated status, and there have been 2 deaths in 2025 due to this outbreak. This is the importance of public health, and we have to stand by public health because we are failing our communities when there are deaths due to vaccine preventable diseases. On that note, the next slide shows for Essex County residents the Vaccine for Children program, which is available. You can call the number 973-877-8456 for free vaccines for children. Next slide. If anybody would like to help the public health community, the Essex County has a medical reserve corps, which is open to medical professionals as well as non-medical professionals to volunteer in times of need in your community to improve public health. For more information, you can go to the website and sign up to join. We encourage that, especially in light of what's going on right now. As we move on to the avian flu H5N1 update, here's the current situation. There is no person-to-person spread. That is currently very low. As for the public health risk to people, there are 70 cases in the US and 1 death occurred. I'll tell you more about those 70 cases on the next slide. These 70 cases occurred throughout the United States, mostly due to occupational hazards, those people working with on dairy farms, poultry farms, and other animal exposures. Next slide. So we also would, just want to let people know how to reduce their consumer risk of exposure to H5N1, which we've gone over before. But the next slide also talks about occupational hazards and if you have phone numbers you'd like to call to report any sick or dead domestic and wild animals, in particular birds. Next slide. As for our environmental health update for the month of March, our inspectors did 19 restaurant inspections. We'll be moving on to mobile food trucks, so you'll be seeing more of those as we get into the warmer months and more of our activities. And we issued and addressed 12 complaints and issued 6 NOVs and 2 summonses. Next slide. As for our crisis intervention social worker report, for the month of March, our crisis social workers saw 14 cases with 5 co-responds. We want to emphasize and raise awareness of our partners at Bink Charity International. This is a group that's based in Maplewood. They're running a food pantry giveaway on these particular dates. So I want to make sure people know about this. This will be held at the Community Fridge on Saturday, April 12th, May 3rd, and June 7th at 3 p.m. So we'll be putting this out into the community so that everyone knows. They're a great organization, and they'll be at our community fridge giving out food to those who would benefit. So please come. Next slide. Lastly is our Make the Right Call sign. Again, just want to emphasize if people are in need that they can call the mental health crisis hotline. These are all 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that mental health crisis number, if you just want to talk to someone, is 988 and 911 for emergency services, 211 for social services, and the number there for poison control. And I'll be calling the 988 number after this. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davenport. Any questions for our health officer from my colleagues?
Yeah, I do. I could. The effect of the federal cuts that we're going to be looking into more this week as we discuss the budget. Other towns have I just want you to share what other towns that you've experienced or you've heard from your colleagues in other communities and what's happened to there.
Yeah, I think it's important for everyone to know about what is going on and how, as the elected officials in our administration have stood by local public health. As of Friday last week, we were notified from the state as well as our professional organization that our funding has been cut in Maplewood. That impacts almost $179,000 of funding. That was to fund our nurse, REHS, local health outreach coordinator, and administrative assistant, all of these to serve the public and the greater good. In other towns, as of this weekend, they have had to deal with firing local health department staff. Some staff are, the workforce is gone in some towns. So it's really vital and important that people know what's happening and the good that local public health does and how it is disappearing like right before our eyes in the state of New Jersey and around the country. We are not isolated in this incident. Everywhere around the country, we are losing public health as we speak. So this is a dire situation.
Yeah, thank you. That's all.
It's uplifting. Anyone else have anything, any questions for Ms. Davenport? I have a question about measles and immunity. So I know that people are wondering, should people get checked on their immunity levels if they got vaccinated, when they were way younger, or what's the protocol for that?
Sure. So most people have either had illness from measles if they were born before the vaccination, and if they've gotten vaccinated, you would normally have 2 vaccinations. You might have more if you're a healthcare provider or someone who's in an occupational risk. If you want to test your titers for measles, you can get a blood test to do that, but it's not really necessary during this time. If you've been exposed, and we've had to do some suspect exposures of measles vaccine of measles in the last month, we ask for their vaccination record to prove immunity status. The vaccine, by the way, the MMR is 99% effective if you've received all full doses. So it's a really effective and well tested vaccine.
So if you had the measles when you were little,
You're immune.
good.
Yep. Your immune
Chickenpox,
system will kick
good.
in.
Mumps, had them all like in a row.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone in the room have any questions for our health officer? Will you come up to the podium and just introduce yourself again?
Migraine has gone away, but I had a quick question about the measles in the US. He said 435 cases. How many cases do we have in New Jersey?
Oh,
3 cases that we were looking at. One was a primary case, and then 2 were secondary cases exposed to that singular case. You'll remember in the news recently that someone was on an Amtrak train on the East Coast who had measles, and so all of those people on that train had to be interviewed and asked if they have their measles vaccine. So that's something that we've been doing as local public health.
And I think the last question I had was, how concerned should we be about the cuts in the health department? And you talked about other township cutting staff. How concerned should Maplewood be?
Maplewood should feel very confident in our elected officials who've made the decision to stand by public health and to fund us so that we can keep fighting the good fight and keep our residents healthy.
Thank you. Mr. Wary, will you help facilitate if anyone online has any questions for our health officer?
If anyone on Zoom would like to address the Board of Health, please raise your hand now. See no hands.
Okay, then I move to adjourn Board of Health into our next scheduled meeting on Tuesday, May 6th.
second,
Mayor Adams,
yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Herman.
Yes.
Zengel.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh, yeah, and a photo.
Oh, photo.
All right.
Yes.
We're going to move to introduction of ordinances. Ms. Fritzen, we have the first one, 12A.
Yes, Mayor. Item 12. Introduction of ordinance number 3149-25 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 123 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Fees, Municipal Pool, establishes 2025 municipal pool fees.
I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on April 15th.
Second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes. Next ordinance, 3150-25.
Yes, Mayor. Item 12B, ordinance number 3150-25 is an ordinance to amend section 6-25 of the Township Code entitled Recreation Advisory Committee. This ordinance amends the Recreation Advisory Committee to reflect changes in the number of committee members, promote diversity within the committee, and clarify the purposes of the committee.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, Ms. Herman?
I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on April 15th.
Second.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes. Next ordinance, 3151-25.
Yes, Mayor. 12C, ordinance number 3151-25 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 72 of the Township Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Youth Advisory Committee. This ordinance will revise provisions of the Township Code with respect to the composition of the membership of the Youth Advisory Committee.
I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on April 15th.
I second.
Mr. Daffis?
I'm still here. No, I mean, yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Okay,
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes. Thank you. We move to administrative reports. Mr. Wary.
Thank you, Mayor. First, as has been discussed, we found out after close of business last Friday that the federal government had cut $179,000 of our funding. As it also affects other communities, it affects South Orange, and we have a shared service with South Orange for some of the staff in our health department, so that's impacted as well. We had planned to introduce the budget tonight, but we'll need some time to work on the budget to account for this reduction in grant funding. And so I would recommend we bring the budget back before the Township Committee for introduction at the next meeting instead of this meeting as originally planned. And the other item is we have a few resolutions on tonight for the hiring of employees. We will be hiring crossing guards, a jitney driver, and a deputy tax collector. So we welcome them all to Maplewood. That's my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Wary? Seeing none, we'll move to our township attorney. Ms. Cordelia, you're on. Oh, no, now you're off. Yeah, now you're on.
Brief report, Mayor. With respect to our fourth round affordable housing obligation, as you may remember, our first step was to adopt a resolution either disputing the DCA calculation or accepting it. We accepted the DCA calculation of 216 units. The declaratory judgment order was entered on the 24th, which puts us in good shape to, move to the next phase of the process, determining how we're going to meet realistic development.
Can you send me a copy of that so I can get it to the Affordable Housing Board for our next meeting? Thank you.
You should send it to the whole township committee. Any questions? Nope, seeing none. Ms. Fritzen.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. I want to report that on March 24th was the date for primary election filing for the township. And two individuals filed for township committee, Jane Collins Colding and Maxwell Kravitz. I have certified both petitions. There were no challenges for either petition. As far as Republicans, no petitions filed. And there'll be a ballot position drawing on Thursday at 3 o'clock right here in this room for position on the Democratic ballot. Okay, also, we're starting to get streeteries. Applicants are filling them out. And we'll be proceeding with directing the various departments to do their inspections. So we have 2 already, and we're progressing. We had just a busy week with event planning meetings. There are 5, 2 down, 3 more to go. And I'll be able to report to you more on that after this week.
Okay, any questions for our clerk?
I like hearing all the event planning meetings because it means summer's coming.
Yes.
Except it seems like they've become all year round.
Yeah, true that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Fritzen. Reports from elected officials. We'll start with Ms. Herman.
Thank you, Mayor. Since our last meeting, when we talked about pool fees, the Maplewood Pool Advisory Committee met and we hammered out the pool fees like guest passes, swim team, dog days, et cetera, that we passed tonight and or we introduced tonight in the ordinance. Today's agenda includes that ordinance. It spells out what the fee decreases that we talked about at our last meeting look like. And as previewed, the family pass would fall to under $400 and no one would pay more than $500. Crucially, seniors would see their rate fall from $191 in 2023 to $150 using the early bird rate. I've heard from residents that are looking for day passes and wanting to look at the couple rate, which is often used for one parent and one child. But I do want to point out that that rate will be just $340 this year, down from $440 in 2023. So that's a savings of $100. And a single rates, which were brought up tonight, would be $235 this summer, and that's down from $295 in 2023. So we are seeing decreases across the board. Note that guest passes are staying the same at $15 for children and $25 for adults. And while some residents have said that those fees are on the high end, it was the decision of the Pool Advisory Committee to focus on lowering pool user fees to make the pool more accessible and leaving these fees the same. And so you'll see dive camp, swim team, dog days, all having slight increases because, again, the focus and the priority is on making the pool accessible for more people, so lowering the user fees, and then, trying to gather revenue where we can on those other sort of additional fees. In summary, I'm pretty confident in saying that everyone will see some relief from pool fees this summer, and that is something to celebrate. I also want to clarify some comments on social media that these cuts to the pool fees are being paid for by reducing our funding to SOMA for 2 towns. That's not correct. These are completely separate. We did talk about both things at last meeting, but the pool fee reductions are not related. We had a lengthy discussion at our last meeting about SOMA for 2 towns, which ended in agreement to reduce the budget line on that position. That's all. The budget is still in flux, as you heard, and we're going to be talking about that more next meeting, but this has not been eliminated. So I just want to clarify that for the public. That is still an open discussion. I've been getting feedback from residents, and if you're listening and you have feedback, send it to me. I'm listening. In recreation, I want to say another congratulations to all of our basketball teams. That's so exciting to celebrate them all tonight. And I just wanted to point out a couple of things coming up with the Community Coalition on Race. Some dance classes are coming up, R&B soul sessions, April 6th and April 13th. And get this, Greek line dancing. Did you know about that? April 27th and May 4th. Very exciting. African line dancing will be held at the Juneteenth celebration on June 14th at Duran Hedden. And next Tuesday, CCR is hosting a volunteer appreciation reception for community members to come and find out more about CCR and how they can volunteer and get involved. And that'll be at the Parlor at the Woodland. That's next Tuesday. And finally, mark your calendar for May 13th, when the annual Conversations on Race program is going to focus on the backlash against DEI. So this is a really relevant program, and I believe my colleague is going to be on the panel. So That's exciting. Mark your calendars. And then finally, I was able to spend last Saturday at Princeton attending the annual Bike and Walk Summit. I was so happy to see some other Maplewoodians in attendance, specifically at panels directly related to making our roads safer for pedestrians. I got a lot of details on what other towns are doing in working to implement complete streets, formalizing strategies to reduce speed limits, look at no turn on red, speed humps, other traffic calming measures. And I also attended a session where I heard from parents who lost their children or one, his spouse in car accidents. And these stories are tragic and heartbreaking and completely preventable. So I look forward to working with my colleagues to make our streets safer for our children walking and biking to schools all across town, and for all of our residents, seniors, and everyone else who enjoy walking around our beautiful community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Deputy Mayor? All right, we'll move on to Committee Member DeLuca.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking about, I have a comment about the comment that was made earlier about opening up the pool for heat emergencies. And I don't know if the pool committee has spoken about that, but I think we have to understand that the pool is a community resource and public funds are now being used and have always been used to support the pool. And when
Right.
we see a heat emergency and have a resource that can provide a healthy and safe place for people to be, we would be wrong in not opening up the pool. I think there is some room now to make some decisions about times and manage that a little bit, but the pool should be open because it is a community resource and it's paid for by taxpayers and fee payers. And I think that's important to continue to push out there. And I would hope that the pool committee would talk about that too and send that similar type of message out.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. DeLuca. The pool committee has discussed when the pool is open on the high heat days, and there's broad agreement on the pool committee over the need for making the pool accessible to all residents on those days. And there's no debate over that. So thank you for bringing that up.
You're up.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 5 things, quick. Thursday night, April 3rd at 7:30 p.m. at the Community Center in Dehart Park, which is at 120 Burnett Avenue. We're going to have a presentation on our plans to reconstruct Dehart Field. I know a lot of people have posted things on posts that I've put on, on different pages on Facebook. So I have a good idea for you. Come on out and speak in person and share some of those ideas, share some of those criticisms, and hear what we have to say. After the 3rd, we will talk about it at the Planning, Engineering, and Public Works Marathon meeting now with all these agenda items. And we will kind of frame where we are and what more information we need. And then I will put it on the agenda for our next meeting to just take a temperature of where we're at and whether we have agreement. Pretty much the agreement is keeping or eliminating the ball field, the softball field. That's what we're going to have to, so that we can give some direction to the to consultants. Number 2, we've had 3 community meetings, virtual meetings on Parker Avenue bike lanes. Each meeting got about 60 people participating. We had anywhere from 18 to 30 comments per meeting. And we are going to sort of touch base again at our our meeting of the Engineering Public Works Committee, see what we heard.
Another agenda item.
Yes. Another item. See what we've heard, what other issues we want to explore with the consultants. And then that'll be also on for the 15th to see what we want to do and how we're going to move this forward or not. And, we don't have to make a final decision on the 15th, but we have to just keep discussing it and moving the ball, trying to figure out how we're getting to an endpoint. Number 3, the middle school traffic pattern. It started on the 24th, so we're in our 2nd week. We had some kinks in the first couple days. I was out there with the students. It was, at 7:30. It was pretty cool to see it all happening, and the students were all excited. So it is working well. Today, the students did their presentation for their award. They're in a competition. And that worked out very well, and we'll see, hopefully they'll do very well with that. Number four, we got an email from Mr. Kittner today that the Prospect Street bollards are up. This is where we put the cones and temporarily place the cones there. They're at the intersection of Prospect and Oakview and Prospect and Oakland. And these are white bollards that are in the road. It reduces the lane to one, so you can't go around. And I have to tell you, I drove tonight and I stopped for someone, and someone tried to go around me in the other lane. But I was quick to move my car, so they went nowhere. But it's just amazing. People need to just slow down.
Oh, my goodness.
These bollards are up now, and we'll continue to monitor that situation. And the last thing I want to say is I want to give kudos to our Senator.
Oh, I was going to say that. I was going to announce that.
Is he
Spoke
still
truth to
talking, or
power
is he
today.
done?
He spoke truth to power for
going?
24 hours plus.
25 hours, 5 minutes.
Library services, we heard cuts to health services. And basically what he was talking about is the priorities need to be on those things that we serve people with, and not on massive cuts for rich folks.
Yeah.
And that's what he spoke about for 24 hours plus. It was a record. And I think it was amazing to watch him as and I know Booker from Newark days, and, he came here in Maplewood. He got a warm welcome when he started to run for Senate many years ago. And he really stood out today as a New Jersey representative and a leader in the Senate, a place that we need some leadership. So thank you, Cory Booker.
Yeah, thank you, Cory Booker. It's
Yes.
about time we had somebody
Stepping up.
stepping up, being a voice. Yeah, we really need that on the federal level. Any questions for Mr. DeLuca?
I'll just agree that the white bollards look great. I texted Mr. Wary because I saw them putting them up this morning when I drove to
They're
work
there.
and I got really excited.
Can't miss him.
So thank
I
you.
saw
Mr.
I saw a
Kittner.
pedestrian walking up and shaking the ball. What is this thing here? And then he got excited and then walked across the street.
I also noticed the bollards are back up on the Greenway entrance. So thank you for Mr. Kittner and his team for that as well. Is it my turn?
Mr. Daffis.
Mr. Daffis' turn.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think it's important that we acknowledge our very own New Jersey's United States Senator Booker for his extraordinary accomplishment and speaking truth to power. As committee member DeLuca said, according to the reports, he added 48 minutes to the record. He spoke for 25 hours, 5.5 minutes. So he broke Senator Thurman's 1957 speech by 48 minutes. And he and Senator Kim have really led the way of speaking truth to power. And I hope that folks out there will be inspired to engage in protest, in civil disobedience, in speaking out and standing up, because the threats are really real, as you heard tonight. Our health department, our very own health department, is threatened directly because of the cuts to the Department of Human Services and the CDC that were announced over the weekend. I want to take a quick moment to acknowledge our colleague, Mayor Collum, and congratulate her. Earlier today, it was announced officially that gubernatorial candidate Mayor Fulop is adding her to his team as his lieutenant governor running mate, and that is pretty impressive. And we're happy for Sheena. And as a friend, I really want to congratulate her on the record. That's really exciting for her and her political career here in New Jersey and beyond New Jersey. Look out. She's only just getting started. Here locally, I want to thank everyone who came out to support Trans Day of Visibility last night. We had a beautiful gathering of 50 to 75 people who came out despite the questionable weather to gather, to hold space together, to be safe, to celebrate each other. And it was really a very powerful and moving experience to see our trans youth in particular speak out, come out. A couple of them came out on this occasion. And I want to thank my fellow organizer in that effort, our trans activist, our local Maplewood resident, Shannon Cuddle. And I want to thank Township administration and support staff that helped us put on that event as they do all the time. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Davis? Seeing none. Ms. Engel.
Thank you. I have a quick report, and you might say this, Mayor, but just in case, on April 7th, the Board of School Estimate is being convened at 6:30 p.m. at the Board of Education Administrative Building, 525 Academy Street. And it will also be available on the WebEx from the district, and no action will be taken, but it's an info meeting for the municipal partners at Board of School Estimate that make up the Board of School Estimate. And then just save the date for April 26th is River Cleanup Day put on by the Environmental Advisory Commission. More information will be coming, but since it's April already, I just wanted to get that on everybody's calendars. I also saw, and you might be mentioning this, that there's painting in the park that day as well. So it'll be a nice day to be a Memorial Park.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it. That's my report.
And the parade.
Parade, that was softball.
Softball, baseball.
Oh, that's in
parade.
Maplewood this year too? So it's a great
Same day.
day.
Same day, same field, same,
9 a.m.
be pretty busy.
It's also my daughter's bat mitzvah. So I will not be attending any of these things, but I will be celebrating
Good plan.
Marley, who hopefully will not be on crutches still.
Yeah.
That's my report.
Hopefully not. Any questions for Ms. Engel? Nope, seeing none. All right, I just want to remind the public that tomorrow night at 7:30, we have a presentation and by New Jersey American Water. We will be, representatives from NJAW will be here to present their plans for extensive work on sewer lines not sewer lines, water lines in the municipality. We may have as many as 4,000 to 5,000 lines being replaced, and they want to do it all at once in Maplewood, get it done. And it's really important. It's replacing lead lines feeding to the houses. So there's a lot of information. There'll be a lot of questions undoubtedly. And this meeting will be held here tomorrow night, 7 or 7:30, Mr. Worry? 7:30. And it'll be hybrid. That's why we're holding it here, so that folks can watch it at home. And it'll also then be up on our website. Okay. Secondly, I just wanted to make a statement. There's been some, we're really fortunate to have residents interested and engaged in Maplewood Theater redevelopment area. Throughout the process, we've benefited a great deal from the community, from our discussions about the plan. And with that has come some misunderstanding of what the plan is and what the plan can do or can't do. So I wanted to clarify some things for the public. First, about the plan itself. The purpose of any redevelopment plan is to provide a framework for the redevelopment of properties. The draft plan provides a zoning framework that would supersede all current zoning in that area. Just like a typical zoning ordinance, the redevelopment plan permits certain uses. It states bulk requirements, like maximum heights, for example. It sets parking requirements, and it provides design requirements such as maintaining or reconstructing the movie theater facade. This is a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment, as we've said numerous times. This township owns 2 lots in the redevelopment area, the Bergdorf and the Merchant parking lot that's behind the theater. All other lots are privately owned. The redevelopment plan can permit a use like a movie theater, but cannot require a movie theater as part of the project. Ultimately, any property owner makes a determination about the best use for their property in compliance with the zoning. It is important to remember that the redevelopment plan is the starting point, establishing the framework for the area. The specific details about a project would later be negotiated in a redevelopment agreement. To correct some residents' misunderstanding, the draft plan does not permit a fully residential building at all. It specifically calls for the retail to remain on Maplewood Avenue stretch of the block and encourages the same along Inwood. Second, on the existing conditions, the Maplewood Theater has not been in operation since 2020, and the bank building has not been in operation since 2022. While the plan is aspirational in that it permits a movie theater and new uses for the bank building, it must also be realistic by allowing other permitted uses to the area. If the plan does not include a range of uses that are appropriate for the space, we risk having no movement forward activating these current vacant spaces. Lastly, about the process from here, we will have another public meeting to discuss the latest draft plan and to receive more feedback. Then the plan would come before the Township Committee for introduction and referral to the Planning Board. Then the Planning Board will have its public meeting on the plan and evaluate its consistency with the master plan and make any recommendations to the Township Committee. Then the Township Committee will consider adopting the plan and talk about it. So that's 3 additional public meetings that allows for public input. Once the redevelopment plan is adopted, the township can designate a redeveloper for the property. The township and the redeveloper would then draft a redeveloper agreement. Among other things, the agreement will specify the nature and extent of the improvements to be made and their timing and phasing as permitted within the plan. So it may also include a community benefit provided by the developer. And again, that's part of the negotiations between the township and the redeveloper who's designated. So I just wanted to say that because we know there's a strong desire out there to have a movie theater, to bring a movie theater back, but there are parameters that we need to follow to stay in accordance with the law. So with that, that's my report. If anybody has any questions or comments, why are you looking at me? like
Nothing.
that?
No, I thought it was a good statement, but I do have something very important to say
Oh,
that we all missed.
what?
The egg hunt is on
Oh.
April.
Oh, the egg hunt.
Oh, they were at the senior center.
Oh, I got to put that on my calendar.
Is for anybody who has not been there.
It's fun.
It's at 12 and ends at
Ends at
12:01.
Yes, yes. The kids are pretty fast.
Time because literally it
Yeah.
only takes 3 minutes and every egg is.
Yeah. And there's a lot of eggs.
There's
Hundreds of eggs.
No. Thousands.
Thousands.
Thousands of eggs. We have community volunteers at the senior center
Last night,
stuffing the eggs.
stuffing the egg.
Yeah.
Tonight, yes.
can't believe we
Lots
didn't.
of volunteers.
Yeah.
It's,
bad.
you know, we missed it. What are we gonna do? We have a lot. All right. We have no discussion items.
Yay.
You're welcome. And I'd like to get a motion for the consent agenda, please.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Ms. Herman,
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. We come to our last public comment on any subject matter. Is there anyone in the house who'd like to speak? All right, we'll go to online, Mr. Wary.
If anyone on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Great. Can I get a motion to adjourn our meeting then?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel,
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Our next meeting is April 15th. Have a good night.
You'll end it?